Well, can we fly?
No fuel goes to the Glossair engines.
Damn. Vaughn, you're in charge. I'm checking the engine room.
Right.
Fran, with me?
Look! Bahamut's Glossair rings are stopping!
Vaughn, as soon as the Strahl's rings move, you take off. Understood? You can fly her, Vaughn. Just do it like I told you.
Don't worry.
Penelo, watch for interference from Bahamut's sky stub. The Strahl's a fickle girl. You keep her working for us.
I'll see what I can do.
Bash, look after Larsa, will you? If House Solidor should crumble, the Empire would fail, and civil war would take us all.
I understand.
The Lord Larsa is our last hope.
Vaughn, the power's back. We can go.
Right. Let's go. Grab onto something.
Sir, it's the Stroll. She's left Bahamut. She's moving away.
The Stroll. They made it. At last. The Bahamut has fallen. The final test is upon us. The judges shall rule us no more. Main cannon on the Alexander.
This is Judge Magister Gabon. All forces cease fire. I repeat, all units of the Arcadian army, hold your fire.
The battle is over. As of this moment, we have signed a ceasefire with the Shelia Benargan Delmasca, the Royal Majesty.
Attention, this is Larsa Farinus Solidor.
My brother Vane has died with honor in battle. The Imperial fleet is now under my command.
Sir, your orders, sir.
This is Ashelia Delmasca.
The Lady Ash. Thank the gods you live.
I confirm what Judge Magister Gabranth and Larsa Solidor have said here.
Please stand down your attack. The war is over. Ivalice looks to the horizon.
A new day has dawned. We are free. Look, Vaughn, the Bahamut!
A message from the Alexander.
Take it.
Sir.
This is Judge Sargabath, Captain of the Alexander, flagship of the 12th Damascan Fleet of the Arcadian Army. I address all ships in Ravanasta's airspace. The Bahamut must not be allowed to fall on the city of Ravanasta. We are preparing to ram her. Do not interfere.
Madness.
Should she fall, the paling will not hold, and all Ravanasta will be obliterated. All ships, concentrate your fire on the Alexander's remains once Bahamut is clear of the city.
Hasty, aren't they? I think it's a little early to be throwing away our lives just yet.
Balthier? Wait! Balthier, where are you?
Oh, Vaughn. Sounds like you made it out okay. The Strahl's a fine airship, eh?
What does he think he's doing? Balthier!
Marquis, stop that fool judge on the Alexander for me, would you? Just getting somewhere with these Glossair rings. Almost done. Don't want him ramming me before I fix them, do we?
Balthier, do you understand exactly what it is you're doing?
Princess! No need to worry. I hope you haven't forgotten my role in this little story. I'm the leading man. You know what they say about the leading man? He never dies. Let's fly! Fran, power to the Glossair rings. Fran?
Get out of Bahamut immediately!
Please, Balthier! You mustn't die!
Please, Balthier. Come back.
I'd say you're in more of a supporting role.
Fran, please. Vaughn, the Strahl's in your hands. You'd better take care of her, you hear? If there's one scratch on her when I get back...
Roger that. We'll be waiting for you.
Balthier!
Well, if you're acting all casual during that, I love it. Oh, man. Well, Theo's such a great character.
Say my love is all you need to see you through. But I know these
This song is so getting copywritten. At the bare minimum.
It's hard to believe a year has passed so quickly. Rabanastre is finally back to the way it was, like when my parents were still alive. We've lost so much, but I think it's important to put the past behind us and keep our eyes on the road ahead. Ash's coronation is next month. She grows farther and farther away from us, but I guess that's how it has to be. She is queen now, after all. I am looking forward to seeing you at the ceremony.
You called, my lord.
Bosch. I know he went with you to Arcades to further the cause of peace in Ivalice, but still, I hope he comes back to Rabanastre and Ash soon. She has to keep up appearances now, so she would never say it, but I think she misses him.
Lose Larsa, and we lose the Empire. Protect him. I would entrust him to no other's care.
I will keep him from harm. I promise you. For the Empire and for Dalmasca.
Your words put me at ease, brother. Sorry to leave you.
as time goes by, I know you'll see this as me. I love you enough to let you go free.
Oh, I haven't told you the most important part. Vaughn and I had been taking care of the straw, but it was stolen. We had just finished having her tuned up, too. Actually, stolen might not be the right word. If her owner wants her back, there's not much we can do about it, is there?
All of my life, I'll
plenty of time before the coronation. So Vaughn's going to pay the two of them a visit. You should see him. He can hardly wait. I'll be going too, of course. Every good sky pirate needs a partner, right?
This game is great. This game is so good, and replaying it really just reminds me of why I love it so much. I think I love it even more after this playthrough than I did before, because I saw some things. I'm gonna talk to you guys a bit during the credits while I give my review. Also, if this is not able to go on the YouTube, I'll probably make this like an MP3 or something and put it in the playlist just so you guys can know my feelings on the game. But I don't know if the ending's gonna be able to come up for YouTube. So YouTube, you guys might have not been able to see the ending. Maybe I was able to put this up, hopefully at least. But we'll see what YouTube wants and what YouTube lets me put up. But my goodness, this game, I played it the first time. I didn't hate it. I liked it, but I think I definitely appreciated the story and characters a little more this time. I do want to say this. I really, like, I knew Balthier and Fran weren't dead because I played the game. And it's a bit of a meme, but Balthier said that the leading man never dies, and that's all he was, the leading man. That's what Balthier was the whole game. I love how they made that a theme, but I knew Fran and Balthier weren't dead because I played the game before, and also just because, you know, the context and all that. More of a meme type knowing the context, but still, I played the game before, so I knew. But they gave you enough hints. I remember playing my first time and I was like, wait, is Balthier dead? Why is Penelo narrating everything? Who is she writing the letter for? I don't know why I never knew these answers when I played this the very first time. But she wrote that letter for Larsa. They made it pretty clear when you see Larsa reading a letter. So she was talking to Larsa about everything going on, and Vaughn and Penelo were going to see Balthier and Fran, basically. But also that definitely hints at Revenant Wings, the DS sequel, which I might play in the future. I think I definitely will because this game is so good. That does hint at the Nintendo DS sequel. Gideon Emery did a fantastic job. Also Carrie Walgren, who does Ash, and Larsa. My goodness, such great voices, such great voice actors. Some of the deliveries are a little bad, but for the most part, the voice acting is pretty good. But, yeah, that hints at Revenant Wings, I think, when Penelo said, oh, every Sky Pirate needs a partner. So, I'll definitely play that DS sequel, because it's supposed to be very similar to, FF Tactics, which I do want to play that as well. So, I think I'll play Revenant Wings. I don't know when, but someday, for sure. But, yeah, I'm gonna talk for a minute before I go into the review of the game. This is kind of blending into my story review because I want to talk about things that I noticed this time, that I didn't before. First of all, I want to say that the story isn't bad. Final Fantasy is known for having really good stories. Final Fantasy X, I love the plot in that game. FF7, even Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is a first part. Even Final Fantasy VIII story isn't the best, but I definitely prefer Final Fantasy VIII story than this. Final Fantasy IX has a good story. Final Fantasy is known for having good stories. And this one's isn't bad. It's definitely the weakest, for sure. It's like, you know, a war. Vayne is the bad guy. Vayne just wants power. And Balthier even talked about... Was it Balthier or was it Larsa? I don't remember. One of them talked about someone using Nethicite for evil. Using manufactured Nethicite. Which makes them, like... Basically... kind of what happened to Vayne at the very end, the final boss we fought, that was a result of manufactured Nethicite. So yeah. The plot isn't bad. It definitely can use some work though. I definitely feel like there were so many characters in the game I didn't care about, and I feel like the characters were kind of a missed opportunity, for sure. Characters as a whole, I think Balthier was great. I think Ash was pretty good. Balthier and Ash were like the two strongest characters, and Larsa, but you know, Larsa's like a side character. Of all the side characters, Larsa is the best, and he is my favorite. I have a personal attachment to Larsa because just Larsa's design and the way Larsa talks. I have a personal attachment to Larsa, but he is still a great character in the grand scheme of things. Also, Cid was pretty good, and also Gabranth. Those three, well, Gabranth was like an antagonist. Gabranth was definitely like the best judge. But the thing with Gabranth is he kind of shows up a little too late in the story, I feel. Or he kind of shows up early, but I feel like they kind of like jammed his development at the very end. I would have liked it if Gabranth showed up. I had to cough. Oh man, sorry about that. I would have liked it if Gabranth showed up more in the game, just like kind of space out his development. I felt like it was just all wedged in at the end, you know? But yeah, Gabranth was good. All Cid was pretty good. Cid was a fine villain, I think. Cid was pretty great for what he was. He wasn't like anything spectacular. He was just... I also love the attachment to Balthier. Again, giving Balthier more development. And the Vana returning at the end with Vayne and all that. I'm gonna be honest, Vayne as a villain looks really cool, but it's kind of, I don't really like Vayne as a villain. It's not that I don't like him, it's just that I didn't really care for him. Vayne is definitely one of the weakest villains, and, I'm trying to think of a villain in FF Final Fantasy that's like a good villain. Sephiroth is a good villain, and, I did kind of like Kuja from Final Fantasy IX. I didn't really care for Ultimacia. But, who's the villain in 10? What's his name? Jecht was, pretty good. I did like Jecht in 10. 10-2 had a pretty good villain, didn't it? 10-2's villains... No, it wasn't the Gullwings. It was, Shujin. It's pretty good. But yeah, I didn't really care for Vayne. I hate to say it, I didn't care for Vayne. But, he looked really cool, and I playing this the first time, I had a lot of expectations for him, but he didn't meet any of them. And now I'm going to talk about the characters. I do want to talk about the main cast, because, as I said, Balthier and Ash get the most development, and they're definitely the best. Bosch is good in theory. I do think Bosch has interesting character arcs and all that. Like, he has potential, but I feel like they didn't do as much as they should have with Bosch. If I had to choose a character that gets this third most developed, it'd be Bosch, for sure. But, I really feel like, especially because Ash and Bosch were supposed to be the main characters, Bosch is just, like, Ash's bodyguard for, like, 60% of the game. And, basically he's just there to guard her and be there, you know? Again, if they put Gabranth more in the middle of the game, I feel like that would have helped Bosch's development and all that. And, yeah, Fran, I really like Fran, but, again... They gave her a little bit of development when we went to Era Village and Golmore Jungle. They talked about her with the Viera and her tribe and all that, but again, they didn't really do much. All she was like, she was Balthier's sidekick. That's it. Just Balthier's sidekick, which is good. I don't mind that. Fran was good. I'm not saying Fran shouldn't be in the game. I just wish we got more development on her. I wish we got more on Fran, a bit more. They did try to make development with her, but I felt like it was too short and not much time. It could have done a little more with the Viera and Fran as a character. And I really want to talk about Vaughn and Pinello. There's going to be a ton of controversy on this, and if you look up Vaughn and Pinello as characters on GameFAQs, you find so many people defending them. And I'm going to say this. I definitely think they're the weakest characters, specifically Pinello. Like, Pinello suffers from being like one of the weakest and the most forgettable of the cast. But I do appreciate them more, and they do something right, and I'm going to explain that in a minute, but I just want to talk about, I do feel like they're missed opportunity. Vaughn as the main character, you know, Vaughn's brother was killed, and I feel like they could have done more with involving Vaughn in the plot. I might have to be quiet for a cutscene. I think we're done. The end. Yeah, we're done. That's the end. I'm not even like, I'm like basically halfway through my review. I have a lot to talk about with this game. But, does it not let me out? Oh, it does close out. Alright. Begin New Game Plus. You can now begin your adventure in New Game Plus mode. Note that New Game Plus can only be accessed from the screen. Honestly? I don't really want to do New Game Plus. I probably have to beat the game again, right? Yeah, I'm gonna return to the title. It doesn't save your game, that's what I thought. Alright, I do want to talk about the game a bit more before... We don't want to load the autosave, we want to load this one because it doesn't save your progress in the Bahamut. But I'm going to talk a bit more. This isn't going to take long. We're like... It only took us like an hour and a half to beat, so we still have time for stream. We're probably going to find something to do. But anyway... a lot of controversy on Vaughn and Penelo. A lot of people agree that they were like just there. And a lot of people say that they're just that's supposed to be their characters. I half agree and I half disagree that they're just supposed to be there and just supposed to be placeholder. A lot of people say that Vaughn and Penelo are supposed to be the players. Like, they're just supposed to be characters, like blank slate characters. See, I kind of agree with that and I kind of don't, because I disagree with it, first of all, because I feel like that's, I don't know, I feel like they should just have a little more. Like, even Joker from Persona 5, Persona main protagonists definitely are insert blank slate characters, and they still have a pretty good arc and all that. They still are pretty great characters for the most part. Still much better than Vaughn and Penelo. Like, the thing is, I know there's a lot of symbological views on Vaughn and Penelo. Like, I noticed throughout this playthrough that at the very, very end, when Vaughn... Throughout the game, Balthier was the leading man, right? And Vaughn wanted to be a sky pirate. That was his dream. But at the very end, when Balthier was having his moment saying, like, oh, Vaughn, take care of the straw, it really was, like, Balthier was passing on the straw to Vaughn, or basically, Vaughn was getting his approval, basically, to be a sky pirate. And I really did like that moment this time, because I paid a lot more... I feel like I paid a lot more attention to it and looked a little deeper inside it, and I really thought, like, oh, Vaughn is kind of like... Vaughn is like, the whole point of Vaughn was to just go from, like, having a dream to actually feeling like a sky pirate. And in Revenant Wings, he's probably a sky pirate. I think it focuses on Vaughn and Penelo a little more, but we're talking about Final Fantasy XII, because I haven't played Revenant Wings. But, yeah, I just really think Vaughn and Penelo were fine for what they were. I understand all that about, like, they're just supposed to be there and not add much to the plot, and they're just along for the ride. I get that, but I think they could have used... That's no excuse. I feel like they could have used a little more work, and they were a bit missed potential, kind of. Like, the banter with each other was pretty funny. And another thing I really don't like, or not really don't like, but feel like was missed, Larsa and Penelo. They obviously worked so hard. I don't know about so hard, but they worked hard on connecting Penelo and Larsa. Like in the beginning of the game when Larsa helped Penelo. They worked really hard on establishing a relationship between Larsa and Penelo, but then I feel like they just kind of threw it out the window. Like, I don't know. I thought that having her and Larsa, like, be friends and everything would kind of make Penelo more involved in the plot, and it didn't really. That's really unfortunate. I thought that would include Penelo more. Like, I guess Vaughn had more significance because his brother died, but that's about it. End of story. Vaughn is there because of his brother dying, and he's involved for that reason. And the stuff I mentioned about Balthier. But Penelo really suffers from this, because she's just tagging along, and they could have used her relationship with Larsa to better integrate her into the plot, you know? They definitely could have did that better. But I don't want to go back too much into it, like, oh, if Vaughn wasn't there, the plot would be better, or plot would be the same. I'm not going to say that, because there are a lot of, I don't want arguments in my comment section about, like, Vaughn and Penelo as characters. I do just want to give my opinion, which my opinion of them is that they're fine, but they're missed opportunities, and they could have done more with them. That's enough on the characters. I definitely think I appreciate the story and characters more this time compared to my first playthrough. What else? Music is phenomenal. Probably one of the best Final Fantasy soundtracks, right behind Final Fantasy VIII, I think. I actually like this soundtrack more than 10 and 10-2, I think. So yeah, I think 8 and 12. 12 is my second favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack, I think. But, gameplay is really fun. I know a lot of people say that it's like autopilot and it doesn't feel like you're doing anything, or it feels too much like an MMO, an offline MMO. I don't care. I think it's really good. The gameplay is fun. It has a lot of customization. It takes a while to get going. The first 5 hours are... First 5 hours, I'd say. Yeah. First 5 hours are a little slow. But once you get gambits, once you get more magic techniques and all that, and once you get more customization with the license board is like a really... It's very reminiscent of the Sphere Grid. License board is like a very good leveling up system. Once you get down to like all the magic and techniques and more stat buffs and license board stuff, it really gets going. You just have a lot of customization with gambits. Gambits is probably one of the best systems in a video game. Like license board is a leveling up system, Gambit is probably the best mechanic. It makes the game better. Like just having your allies you prioritize healing or attacking or magic, it's really good. I love it. I loved customizing my gambits and all that. And yeah, really good. Gameplay is like top notch. I can't think of anything bad to say about the gameplay, except that running away is trash. Escaping from battles, I've heard people say just slow down the speed. The game is incredibly slow, first of all, at the normal speed, and second of all, that doesn't change the fact that running is bad, because that doesn't really help. Slowing the game down does kind of help in theory, but it also doesn't help. Like, it's still really bad. Escaping in this game is trash. I wish it was better. I think that's it, honestly. I don't really have much else to say. Graphics are really good. I don't really care about graphics, but this game looks like an early PS3 title. It could pass for like a 2006, like a launch title for PlayStation 3. It could pass for that. But, yeah. Really good stuff. I love it. I love this game so much. This game, I love it even more now, after this playthrough. I love it so much, I bought the PS4 version. I've mentioned this. I bought the PS4 version. When this playthrough is done, which is very soon, I'm probably going to keep playing on the PS4 and try to platinum it. I love this game. Can't really express it much more than that. But, yeah. Hunts are a really fun addition. I love doing hunts and hunting down specific monsters. Trying to think. Some of the magic is really cool. Green magic is nice to have. Dark magic, arcane magic specifically, really cool. The classes are really nice. I love the Zodiac Age. I can't imagine playing this on PS2. Especially because of the speed. But the PS2 version, no offense to people like that played the PS2 version and like it, but the PS2 version sounds a lot more like a nostalgia trip than a game and an entry point. I would not want to go back to PS2 version. Based on what I heard, it sounds a lot worse. This is the definitive way. It sounds a lot worse to play the PS2 version if I haven't played it. If you have nostalgia, that's fine. I accept it, you know? Nostalgia is a really strong thing. So if you have nostalgia, you could play the PS2 version. But without nostalgia or not having played the previous version, this is the definitive way to play the game. Console, it doesn't matter. This port or remaster is the definitive way to play Final Fantasy XII. And I guess if I were to give it a rating, I'd probably give this game like an 8 out of 10. So good. It's in my top 5 Final Fantasies. It's that good. I love it. I love it so much. Let's see. Final Fantasy VII Remake is my first favorite. Final Fantasy X and X-2 are second. I can never decide between those two, so they're tied. I don't know if I like this game more than FF8, actually. I might have to change my rankings a bit. Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy XII are really close, but I think playing this makes me like this one a bit more. And then Final Fantasy VIII is in 4th place. It's really close, but I think I like this one a tad bit more after this playthrough. But that's enough rambling. I rambled long enough. I just love this game, and I want to get my opinion out there. And again, I'm not sure what part of YouTube was cut off. I'm not sure what I was able to put on YouTube. I'll find out when I upload this, which is probably going to be in like... Should be like in 2 or 3 days. Shouldn't be much longer. But yeah, we're going to load up the game and start getting the magics we need, the leftovers.